What's going on, everybody? Got a tutorial for you today with the Xbox 360, and I'm going to be showing you how to replace the Liteon disk drive. I've had a lot of messages, emails through the website, just people that have replaced their drives and they didn't work after that. And it's because there's a few tricks you got to know about the Xbox 360 to get it to work correctly. I'll start off by saying the only thing you're going to need at this point is a little Phillips head screwdriver. If you're not sure how to get to this point where I've got it all opened up like this, obviously, I'm going to put a link in the description and we'll show you how to pop your Xbox 360 FAT open and get to this point, and then you can come back to this tutorial once you're finished with that. With this tutorial, I'm just going to be straight up taking the old one and swapping it with a new one. But there is another method that's called flashing, and that actually requires you to plug this into a computer and flash it. It's too much to explain, and it's just, it's kind of complicated, especially for people that aren't quite sure what that is and how that works. It'll definitely take you several weeks to get it set up and learn exactly how you need to do it. So if you're not really experienced and you don't have much of a clue what it is, then don't even bother. You'd be better off just getting a soldering iron for this, which is what I forgot to mention actually. You will need a soldering iron for this Liteon drive, for this tutorial anyways. There is one benefit if you decide to go ahead and try to flash it or have someone flash it. You can replace this drive with any of the Xbox 360 FAT disk drives. There's really no point, since this is the Liteon. I mean, the Liteon is the best drive, it's the most reliable, it's the most sturdy. So there's really no point in flashing this unless you're planning on doing some modding. But yeah, that's pretty much it. One other thing I will say is you're going to have to kind of bear with me here. I'm not actually going to be replacing this with another one. This drive actually works perfect, and so I don't really want to desolder everything and desolder a whole nother drive just for this. So you're going to have to kind of do some imagining with me later on in the tutorial. So just keep that in mind. So anyways, let's go ahead and we're going to just slip this bad boy out. Kind of pull out these two cables in the back, just like that. We're going to set the rest of it to the side. Alright, now we're going to flip this over, and there are 4 screws, and we're going to take each of those 4 screws out right now. Also, there's a little warranty seal here, so if it doesn't pop right open, just remember you may have to kind of cut that or kind of force it open to pop that sticker, that little warranty sticker off. At this point, I don't think many people are really worried about voiding their warranties on an Xbox 360, but figured I would mention that. Alright, going to set those screws aside. Now we're just going to kind of work this bottom part of the case off, and then the top. Got that little itty-bitty PCB board there. Now, the reason why we have to do this a certain way is this little PCB board, which is short for printed circuit board, has a unique key on it which matches the original motherboard that it shipped with. So if you just took your brand new Liteon drive and just plugged it right in and just tried to use it like that, it wouldn't work. And the reason for that is it would only play DVDs, it would not play games. The reason for that is that unique key has to match the motherboard, and if it doesn't, it will not allow it to play Xbox 360 games. It's kind of a preventative measure, I guess you could say. Now, the reason why you're going to need a soldering iron, let's flip this around here, is as you can see, there's wires here, and those are connected to the eject motor, which opens the disc tray up. And you're actually going to have to desolder those and solder it onto the new one. So let's first there's one screw on this one, which is right here, We're going to just unscrew that and set it aside. Actually, I'm going to need a smaller bit here. Bear with me 1 second. It's a lot smaller of a screw than the case screws. Okay, so we're going to unscrew that and set it aside. Now we're going to start removing these ribbons. Each one has a little lock. So what you do is you let's see if I can get it close up first. It's a little lock. What you're going to do is you're going to pull the lock out, and then the ribbon will be nice and loose. So we pull it out, and that just pops right out. Same thing with the laser ribbon. And, oh Lord, that just popped right out of that laser, didn't it? Alright, and then we're going to pop this out. Alright, now what we're left with is the soldering wires. Now, this is the part where you got to be a little bit imaginative with me, okay? This is the old drive, the one from your original drive from your Xbox 360. Now, what you would want to start with first is you're going to get your soldering iron, and you're going to put a bunch of solder on it, and you're just going to go ahead and desolder all these wires, just get them all off of there, so that every single one of these wires are loose. Once you've got those wires loose, there's a little itty bitty, and I just remember there's a second screw here. Good job. So let me, I'm not going to unscrew it, but you see there's a second screw there, so make sure to unscrew that. Go ahead and desolder everything and take this PCB board out, okay? Now, make sure you keep this one straight. This is the one you're going to put in your new drive, alright? So I'm going to take this away, and we're going to pretend like I'm bringing in a new drive. Alright, so pretend like this is the new drive you're going to be installing. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to have the old PCB board right here. And if you want to, you can just set it down right here. Alright, so we're going to get the soldering iron, get some solder on it. You ain't got to do much. These melt pretty easy off of these drives. These are one of the easier ones. So what I tell everybody is to make sure you don't mix up the wires is just start from one side. We're going to start with this first black one over here to the far right. We're going to desolder it. Just like that. Alright, now that black wire is removed, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the one from your old drive. It's going to be right here. You're going to hold it here, or kind of set it here, and you're going to solder this first black wire right in the exact same place you just desoldered it from on the new one. And you're just going to go across the board here. So once that one is done, then you'll desolder this red one, and you'll solder it on the old PCB board, and you'll just go down the line. Just make sure that you're soldering it all back in the exact right places, and you don't get wires mixed up. Now I'm going to solder this back on because, like I said, this drive is fine, so I'm not going to do all that extra stuff when it works fine. And hopefully it's not going to be too confusing for you because I didn't have a second one here. Well, it doesn't even want to stick now. Give it a second. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to pretend like you've done what I just said. Okay? You've got everything. This is the old PCB board on the new disk drive. And all we've got to do now is just get everything hooked back up. This kind of fell out, so I'm going to kind of rig it up here. Alright, I'm just going to set that back in there because that will already be connected, so you won't have to worry. You're going to put the worm motor in next. Spindle motor in. And make sure you're locking all those back in with those little locks. Now all we've got to do is start putting the case back on, just like this. we're going to start putting those screws back in there. And that's pretty much the end of this tutorial, besides we're going to plug it back into the console. I hope this was easy enough. I know because I wasn't actually switching it, there may be some confusion, so make sure to comment or even send me a message if you need to, and I'll be definitely sure to reply with any questions if it wasn't clear enough or was a little vague. And you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. You know, I've got a lot of repair tutorials, a lot of modding tutorials, just a lot of gaming console stuff. So, let's go ahead and finish that. Bring your console back over. Plug that back in. And that's it. Alright guys, so make sure to subscribe, and until next time.